Hi, friends. This is Vicky Vegas, your source for everything Las Vegas. My mission is to promote Las Vegas businesses and tourism to the world. It was very hard for me to choose a great topic for my very first episode, but I decided on something that would be interesting to people who would wish to come to Las Vegas, and that is COVID and immigration. I had the privilege of interviewing Las Vegas premier immigration attorney Bindi Parikh. Please like the video and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe. Okay, let's start. Hi, Attorney Parikh. Good morning.
Hi, Victoria.
Thank you for agreeing to see me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
Okay, so this is your office. It's
This is my
beautiful
office.
and
Thank
big.
you.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna ask you a few questions because a
right.
lot of my friends are interested to be updated on the coronavirus, the rules and regulations, etc. Everything related to immigration.
All right.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
let's
do it.
proceed. I chose immigration because a lot of my friends have been asking me a lot of questions,
Sure.
especially now that it's COVID. So give us like an update on what are the requirements for people to travel to the US. But first thing, can everybody just come in?
Well, no, not everybody can come in, even though travel in general has resumed for most countries and the US is open. But there is a presidential proclamation that was started by President Trump and it's continued by President Biden. And according to this proclamation, it's like a travel ban. If you're traveling to the US and you've been to there are 33 countries included in the proclamation. If you've been in these countries in the last 14 days, you can't come directly to the US. So these countries are Iran, India, all the Schengen countries, which includes
That's
UK.
surprising, yeah.
Yes, a lot of European countries, the entire Schengen bloc,
Yes.
South Africa, Brazil, and I think I may be missing a couple, but basically it's 33 countries.
33
And yes,
countries.
if you've been there in the last 14 days, you can come to the US. There is a way to get around it. People usually spend 14 days in a third country. Usually they spend it, in some Caribbean country.
Can they spend it in Mexico?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a very common country that people are going to before they come here.
Yeah.
14 days in Mexico or a Caribbean country. There are certain European countries, if you're coming from Europe, you can spend 14 days in Croatia. Croatia is not part of Schengen. Croatia, Cyprus, Turkey, you can spend 14 days there and then come here.
Turkey's not included.
Turkey's not included. So yeah, you can go to Turkey, spend 14 days there and then come back to
Wow.
the US.
Turkey's beautiful. By the way, today is September 18?
17.
17.
Yes.
September 17, 2021. That's why we're talking about COVID. Maybe, hopefully, in a few months, this conversation is already mute or
Right.
moot.
Right,
Yeah.
we'll talk about happier immigration
Yes,
things.
hopefully. But anyway, so this is what we have. Now, like I asked you, so everybody can travel? No, you said not all. Some are, let's say, excluded. But what about US citizens?
Right, so if you've been abroad on an international trip and you're coming back, and even if you're not a US citizen, you're a citizen of, say, Mexico or some other country that's allowed to travel to the US, there are certain requirements. You have to submit a negative COVID test within the last 72 hours preceding your travel. Or if you've had COVID in the last 3 months, then you provide proof that you've recovered from COVID. Only in the last 3 months, though, before you travel.
Okay, so
Right.
they're gonna get the COVID test
Correct.
in that country where they're coming from.
Correct. Correct.
Oh.
There's only certain tests that it's all on the website,
Yeah.
the travel.gov
And we accept
website.
that.
Yes, only the tests that we accept.
Only the
Yeah.
because it's different from
Right,
country to
right.
country.
So it's only the test that the US accepts, and you get that test done. It's commonly available in most countries, and you get that test. You take the test within 72 hours of traveling, and you get a negative report, and you come with that.
Okay, so does it have like I heard something about a QR code? that you scan and all that
Yes.
stuff? So it's different from.
Well, I'm sure it's different from country to country, but yes, there is. You can scan your report and upload it to the travel.gov website, and they already have it, but you need to carry a copy
But
as
you
well,
still
I
have to
believe.
carry it.
Right,
Ah,
and you
I see.
show that, and once you're in, you have your negative test, and once you're in, after that, there are requirements depending on whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated.
Yeah.
If you're fully vaccinated, you still are required to take a viral test, which is the NAAT test or the antigen test. You take that test within 3 to 5 days of travel.
Before you come?
No, after you come.
After you
This is
come.
after you come in, just
Okay.
to make sure that because you're traveling, you
Because
may
you're
catch it.
vaccinated.
Even if you're vaccinated,
Oh.
you still get the test within 3 to 5 days, just to make sure that you haven't caught it during your travel. And obviously, if you're negative, you go about your
Do you
regular
have an
business.
idea how much that test is?
So many places offer it for free. Walgreens offers it for free. You just
That's
make
good.
CVS offers it for free, I believe.
Yeah.
And of course, there are paid tests which cost anywhere between $150 to $250.
Yeah.
I know because I paid for my mom before she
Oh.
was traveling, and I needed her test soon.
Yeah.
So I paid $150. I got a false positive on that. Got another 2 tests done, which were both negative. So
Okay.
I spent a lot of money on
That's
that.
weird. Yeah,
Yes.
that's weird. No,
Yes.
because I had to ask you.
Yeah.
Because some people, when they come here, that's not budgeted.
Sure.
So they come on a budget, and then they didn't have any idea they have to take these tests. So yeah, it's around 150, maybe double.
Right,
Yeah,
or
just a
it's free
budget.
if you do it at Walgreens, but you have to make an appointment, and you get
Yes.
your appointment, I think, 72 hours
Yeah.
in advance.
But that's
to
the
make an
beauty about
appointment.
it. Here.
Right, you can do it
Yeah,
for free.
For free.
And the test, they're not really checking to see whether or not you did it. It's more of a recommendation than a requirement, but it's highly advisable to do it. The CDC website also says if you're not doing the test, then you should self-isolate for 10 days.
Self-isolate.
Yeah, for 10 days.
Who's going to monitor that?
They're not really monitoring it, Victoria.
No one, yeah.
Well, there are different recommendations based on, if you're fully vaccinated, you do this, but if you're not vaccinated or if you're partially vaccinated, they still recommend that you do the test and you isolate for 7 days. Whether or not, even if it's negative, you isolate for 7 days.
Yeah. So now, you can get vaccinated here, right?
Yes.
And it's free too.
It's absolutely free, and they're pretty much rolling out the red carpet. If you want to get vaccinated, then yes,
oh
you
my
should.
goodness. Okay.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So we've tackled who can come in and who can travel here, vaccinations,
I want
expenses.
to talk about the exceptions to the presidential proclamation, Victoria, just going back for a little bit, because all of these countries that are restricted from traveling, but what if you're a US citizen and you've been to the UK? Obviously you're not covered by the proclamation. US citizens, if you're a permanent resident, a green card holder,
also.
Yeah. So those are exceptions. They're immediate families. You can also apply, even if if you don't fall under the exceptions, you can apply for what is called the national interest exception. If the US determines that your entry to the US is in the US's interest, in the national interest.
Yes.
It could be if you're working in healthcare, if you're working in the public health for COVID, if you're working in some crucial infrastructure project, or if you're coming to promote economic activity. Like for Vegas, it's very, very important for us to get all of the convention business. So that's where if you apply for a national interest exception saying that you're coming to promote economic activity in Vegas, that's super important. They could come. They could come based on this exception.
But you were telling me that we have an event here, a big convention, and there's a delegation that cannot come.
Yes. I was just on the phone right before you came. I was on the phone with a delegation from the UK, and they want to come here for a convention in October. And
October,
yes,
okay.
and they've been trying to apply for this national interest exception, saying that their presence in the US is going to promote economic
Yeah,
activity, which
yeah.
it will. So I'm trying to help them right now
Okay, you're in the
in
process.
qualifying. Yeah, we're in the
Yeah.
process because they did get a couple of some of them got approval, some of them got denials.
Oh my
So we're
gosh.
trying to. It's not a very streamlined, consistent kind of process. So I'm just trying to help them, hopefully,
Yeah.
because
So,
Vegas
uh,
needs the business.
is the Philippines part of the
No,
groups that can't come in?
no,
Oh, so
no,
they can't
it's
come in.
not. They can.
All right, and then but when they come in, they need all those things like for travel.
Right, of course, yeah. You do need to, provide the negative COVID test. You do need to follow all the steps.
So they don't need to be quarantined.
So
It depends.
again, there is no requirement for quarantine. But if you're not vaccinated, then you should self isolate for 7 days. And if you're not going to test after coming, then you should self isolate for 10 days.
Okay, yeah, with probably your family here,
Right. It's
or
it's
the
for
person
your
you're
it's
visiting.
exactly it's for your family, your friends, whoever you're traveling with or traveling to.
Okay, so what else do we have here?
Passports.
Exception
I get a lot of questions on
regarding
passports.
passports, yeah.
Yes, because a lot of people they travel and they realize that they had to extend their trip, especially during COVID. A lot of people have traveled to different places and they've been stuck there. Sometimes for weeks and months, and in the meanwhile, they find that their passport is close to expiry. In that case, most countries require a 6-month validity before they'll take you in on a
Okay, that
passport
means when you come in here, your passport must be valid for at
for
least
at
six
least six
months. Yeah.
months. Yeah,
And when they come in the States, is it automatic that they get a 6 month visa stay?
right. That's your I-94. So if you come, it depends on the kind of visa you're coming on, Victoria. So if you come on a visitor's visa, the most common,
Yeah.
if you're coming for tourism or for business, the B1 is for business, B2 is for tourism. Usually, it's your maximum validity is 6 months. There are some airports that give 1 year, but that's very rare, and I don't want to name them because everyone's gonna go to that
Yep.
airport. But yeah, generally it's 180 days. If you're coming on a visitor's visa, if you're traveling on a visa waiver from, say, a European country, it's 90 days.
90 days.
Yes,
Okay.
it's 90 days. If you're
Yeah.
coming from Canada, they don't require a visa, it's 6 months.
6 months. So
Yeah.
let's say the person is here, and in the meantime, that visa will expire in like 4 months. Um, can they renew it somewhere here?
Yes. So, say if a US citizen, if you've traveled to some country and you find you're stuck there and you have to renew your visa, you can travel with an expired visa. First of all, the airline will not
Oh,
take
yeah,
you.
will not take you.
Okay, and then somehow if you manage to come, you're not going to get entry because your passport is not valid. So you have to apply to your closest consulate. US consulates are all over the world, so you just apply at the closest consulate and you should be able to get.
So it's
a
safer
visa.
to say that number one, check your passport already, at least six
Yes.
months validity. I would suggest that if it's close to 6 months, renew it before
Renew
you
it.
leave.
You can
Yeah.
renew at any time.
At
You
any
don't have to
time.
wait for your
Yeah.
passport to come to, oh, it's 6 months now I can apply. No, you can renew your passport anytime. The reason people don't renew a lot in advance is because you lose your the balance. Because if I apply today and my passport is expiring after 1 year, then I've lost that 1 year. If I get my passport within a few weeks, I've lost
Yeah.
that 1 year. So that's why people apply late. But if you're traveling, it's a good idea, especially now there's a huge delay at the
Yes.
passport office.
Yes.
It is taking months in
But
the
it's
normal
still
process.
it's open.
It is open. It is
Okay,
open. I
perfect.
just
Yeah.
got my passport renewed very recently. I had to apply under the expedited process. They do have an expedited process. It used to be a matter of days, but it took me weeks, even with the expedite. Yeah, even
Yeah.
with the expedite request. If you apply without expediting, it is taking months.
So you don't want to get stuck there.
No.
I mean, like that. So that's the first thing. Your passport, check it first, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe even if you don't need it, just check now. Now that you're watching us, check it. The
Yes.
next thing is the visa. Usually, if it's about 6 months, I will get nervous. So I already renew my visa in advance. Like in the Philippines, we have to go to the U.S. embassy, and that embassy, my God, the lines there are
Yes.
really long. I
Yes.
don't know about now because of COVID, but still,
Yes.
to be safe, to be secure in your own person, please check your passport, check your visas. Okay? Next. So we have passports, visas. What is this?
These are just the exceptions.
The exceptions and the vaccinations. Okay. You know what? Another thing they ask me, if they come here, can they divorce their spouses?
Well, Victoria, most of my clients ask if they can get married in the
Oh,
US.
okay.
Your clients are very different from mine.
No, 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 but seriously, they ask if they can get married. Yeah,
Right.
that's a good question.
Yes.
Let's tackle that first.
Right. Well, in order, I think it's the same answer for marriage and for divorce. I just have to put out there that I'm not a family attorney, not a divorce attorney, so I'll answer it from the immigration perspective.
Yes.
You have to be a resident of a
This
state
is the state where you're staying.
where you're staying in order to get a divorce. For Nevada, you can come from out of state and get married though.
Oh, okay. So from everywhere.
Right, you can come and you don't have to wait for your license. You get it within a day or on the spot, I believe. Yeah, for divorce,
For divorce,
for
yes.
divorce, you need to be a resident of the state, and every state has different residency requirements. It could be 90 days or 60 days or 6 weeks or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
You need to be a resident and you can file for divorce. Even if you're here on a work visa, you're not a citizen or you're not a permanent resident, it doesn't matter. You can still file for divorce if you live in that state.
Now, with regard to, let's say, marriage, you come here and then you meet someone and
Yes.
you decide to get married.
Right.
Do you have to go back to your country of origin and apply for anything?
Well, that depends. If you get married to a US citizen, then you don't. You can just continue to stay here. And this is a very, very common scenario. And we file a lot of marriage based cases where someone has a girlfriend abroad or they meet someone here.
Here, yeah.
And they immediately fall in love, they decide to get married, they propose, and and then they realize that this person has a visa that's expiring. So then they come to us and they say, I don't want my husband to leave, or I don't want my wife to leave.
That's true.
Can he or she just stay, or can we file for a green card? The good news is yes. If you're a US citizen, then yes, you can file for a green card. Even if the person has a visa that is expiring or has expired, even if the visa has expired 10 years ago, as long as the person has entered the US legally, has been inspected, in that case, and they marry a US citizen, they fall in love, then even if they are out of status, a US citizen can still petition his or her spouse,
that's
and they can
interesting.
file for the green card and get it in the US without leaving.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
I didn't know that. Like, if you were here, and then your visa expired, and you are missing in action somewhere here, and you fall in love, get married.
That's the important part though. Fall in love, get married. Don't look for someone to get married to just to get the green card.
That's it. So,
Yes.
well, everything will be fixed. Just go to our immigration lawyer, attorney Bindi Parikh. You're gonna find her information in my website, Vicky Vegas. That's my website, and then you can watch this conversation in Vicky Vegas YouTube channel. But let's continue. More interesting questions. Oh, just a few more, because she will give you things in detail later on. Like if they come and visit, because what I'm trying to promote is, if people have questions about immigration,
Right.
so they come in, they traveled here already. Can they see you, make an appointment with you, and ask those questions?
Yes, of course, and that's usually the way it works. If someone is in Vegas, I have another office in California, in Chino Hills, where my partner manages that office. So if someone is traveling to that place and they find us and they have questions, yes, absolutely, make an appointment, come in, and we'll explain to you whether or not it can be done. If it can't be done, we're going to be upfront and tell you this is not possible, because I can't tell you, Vicky, how many clients I get who come and tell me, oh, so and so person told me I can do this, when it's absolutely not doable.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then I think every attorney should be upfront and tell their clients it can be done. But if a case is something that we can work with and we can get you that green card or visa, then we're very, very happy to do it. Even investors, this is not just in the family context. We have investors who come to the US, people who come here and they find a business that they want to invest in. And they ask us, okay, do I really need to go back? Can I just change my visa from a visitor's visa to some kind of an investment visa? And the answer is yes, in certain circumstances. If you're from certain countries, there are certain treaties of trade, and we can change your visa from a normal business or tourist visa to an investor visa, which allows you to stay here, which allows your spouse and your children to stay here too.
Also, yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of possibilities, and sometimes people are not aware. So before you do your own research online, it's not most attorneys, if you just pick the phone and ask them a couple of questions, they'll be happy to answer you and just guide you in the right direction at least.
So this is what I'm saying. Don't ask each other because you don't know the answers. You better ask the experts. Okay? So keep that in mind. Ask the experts. If you trust somebody else's opinion, you're not going to be in a good spot. Another question that people often ask me is, when they come here, can they work? Because they want extra pocket money,
Right.
to travel here, to eat, to shop. So, attorney,
No.
can they work? No, right
Sorry.
away it's a no. All right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but the short answer is no. There is a long answer to it, but the short answer is no. When you come here on a tourist visa, or even if you come on a business visa doesn't mean you come here and open your business and start working for it. There are only limited activities that you can do on the B1, B2 visa, and working here for money is not one of them. But if you get a job offer, say you work in the technology field, you're a software professional, you're traveling in the US, you meet someone offers you a job. It's a legitimate, genuine job that they're offering you. Then there is a way that you might be able to stay here, or at least file at the right time so you can go back and come back in. There is a quota.
Yeah.
There is a quota. It's a work visa quota, and it's only for professional employees or for professional positions, I should say. And that opens in March of every year.
Okay, March of every year.
Right, and there's 65,000 visas and 20,000 additional for people who've done a master's degree from the US. But if you don't have a master's from the US, you have a foreign degree, a foreign bachelor's or master's degree, then your employer can still file under that quota, and at least 5 times the number applies every year. And if you get lucky, if you're chosen in that quota, then you can file your H1B case. It's called the H1B visa. You can file your H1B case, and if everything is proper, it's a legitimate job offer, and the employer is giving you the prevailing wages. There is a common misconception that when foreign workers come from abroad, they're paid less than their US counterparts. That's not true. There is an entire process to it. The employer has to attest to the Department of Labor that they will pay the same as any other worker in that position, and you can work on that H1B visa.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So there you have it. We still have a lot of questions, but when you come here, you can consult. So I'm going to give you the floor now. Please invite them here to Las Vegas and tell them about your office. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky.
Okay.
So, anytime you have an immigration question, whether it's for yourself or it's for a family member or it's for a friend, you can contact me. You can see my website, which I believe Vicky will have up on her
Yes.
channel. You can call me or you can email me. I'm happy to answer your questions. If it's family based or if it's investment based, or if you are an employer who's looking for employees, or you found an employee who you want to retain and keep them in the US, contact us and we'll be happy to help.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're
So
very
you learned a
welcome.
lot, and I learned a lot. Tthank you, Attorney Bindi. I'll
Thank you,
see you
Vicky.
again. We'll ask you more questions.
Absolutely. You're very
Okay, thank
welcome.
you. All good.